Hello everybody and welcome back to the Straight Outta Cloyne YouTube channel, and also welcome to the Manchester United career mode. It is finally time for us to begin the second career mode of FC25 on this channel, and I could not be more excited, lads. Decided to take a wee bit of a break over the festive season, hoping you all had a great Christmas and a great start to your new year, and I hope you are as excited for this career mode as I am with the Red Devils Manchester United, the team I support in real life. And I'm just going to address this now before somebody makes this comment. Yes, I don't have a Manchester accent. No, I am not from Manchester. Never have claimed to have been from Manchester, but what I am is a Manchester United fan. I've been a United fan my whole life. I love this club more than anything else sport related, and I'm so excited to be doing a career mode with them on the channel. So with that said, I do know some people, when they do career modes with their favourite teams, they like to do a series every year. I am not going to do a series with United every year. I just think that would get boring after a while. There's other teams I want to do on the channel as well. So I just want to preface that as well. We won't be doing a United career mode every year, but we will do one every 3 or 4 years. And I think this United career mode was the one that excited me the most, and the one that I wanted to do a series around the most because of the storyline involved in it. And that is, when you think of Manchester United in the 90s and 2000s, you associate Manchester United with nothing but success. Sir Alex Ferguson, the great man himself, won all those trophies, 38 major honours at Manchester United. But since the great man himself retired in 2013, we have not won a league title since. And that is criminal to think that United have not won and not even really competed for a Premier League title since 2013. A couple of second place finishes in 2018 and 2021, but nothing overly serious in terms of a title charge. But let's just take a step back for a second and let's think about the success United have had. 20 English League titles, 13 FA Cups, 6 League Cups, Europa League winners in 2017. Cup winners, that's a very hard sentence to say. European Cup winners in 1991. Try saying that 5 times really quick. Super Cup winners in the same year. And of course, not only were Manchester United the first English team to win the European Cup in 1968, but also United were the first English team to win the historic treble. In 1999, 3 trophies sealed: the Premier League after beating Arsenal to the title on the final day, an FA Cup final win against Newcastle a week later, and then most famously, that famous night in the Nou Camp, 1-0 down in the last minute against Bayern Munich, the 2 substitutes, Teddy Sheringham getting the equaliser, and then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went on to win it. And of course, Manchester City have gone on to win the treble since, but as the old saying goes, nobody remembers the second man to walk on the moon. So yeah, it's very hard to beat the original. But as I said, since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, there's not really been a serious title charge. Now, there has been success in spades. Obviously, the FA Cup win in 2016, League Cup and Europa League the year after, Erik ten Hag in his first season winning the League Cup in 2023, and of course, United are the current FA Cup holders as well, after defeating Manchester City in that final last season. But we've been a shadow of what we used to be back in the 90s and 2000s and early 2010s. And it's actually quite sobering to see the fall off from such a huge club. Like, we all knew when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, there was going to be a bit of a transitional period. I don't think we thought it would be lasting 12 years. And that's the reality of it. There's been a few managers who've tried, and they've all failed. David Moyes, it was over before it even really began. Louis van Gaal won that FA Cup but didn't play the most exciting brand of football. Jose Mourinho seemed like he was going to be the guy to bring us back. When we won that Europa League, it felt like a watershed moment. It just never quite clicked. Despite the fact he gave us our highest points tally in the Premier League the following year, we still finished 19 points behind Manchester City. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the man who I mentioned earlier, scored the most famous goal in the club's history. We all fell in love with the story of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer bringing the club back to the glory days. It didn't quite happen. A Europa League final defeat to Villarreal in 2021 was the closest we got to any sort of success. He got us to numerous semi-finals, but never went on to win any of the big ones. Erik ten Hag then come in after that, and despite the fact he never had a trophyless full season with United, again, the results just weren't good enough towards the end and the clubs had to part ways. In real life, Ruben Amorim, the former Sporting manager, has taken over United, but in this series, it's not Ruben Amorim. As much as I love him in real life, it is yours truly, Joseph Tuchel, taking over this team. And that is why, as you can see here, I am rocking a 4-3-3 formation. I'm not going to go with the three at the back. Now, I'm not going to completely rule that out, because I actually do like the idea of United doing something different, completely different from the norm of what you'd expect from the club. But I wanted to stick to what I know best, and that is the 4-3-3. Different 4-3-3 from what we played with Celtic. We have gone with two holding midfielders here, although Mainoo will play a bit further forward as well. Bruno then as a number 10. We didn't play with a number 10 in the Celtic career mode. But yeah, let's have a wider view of the squad at the moment. So Andre Onana is going to be the man between the sticks to begin with. Mazraoui and Dalot, the two fullbacks. De Ligt and Martinez, the two starting centre-backs. Mainoo and Ugarte there in the midfield, with Bruno as the number 10, Ahmad out wide, Garnacho out left, and Rasmus Højlund up front. But as you can see, lads, the squad, for a Manchester United squad, it is not great. It's quite bare. We've got a few decent players in certain areas. I mean, the highest rated player, as you can see, is Bruno Fernandes, but by a bit of a distance. To be fair, De Ligt, Martinez and Onana are all 84 rated, but Bruno is the only player who you could consider world class in terms of his rating. So when you think of Manchester United over the years, you think of so many world class players, but at the moment, that's just not the case. But with that said, I do think a lot of these players have the potential, especially these three right here, Ahmad, Rasmus and Garnacho. Ahmad has been in unbelievable form since he finally started getting his chance to the team over the last 12 months. Garnacho obviously has idolised Cristiano Ronaldo, and a lot of people say that he could have gone on to be the next Ronaldo. I never quite would take it that far, but I do think there is a good player there. And Rasmus Højlund, listen, a lot of people have been very critical of him recently, but I do think there's a player there, and I do want this man to be the guy to lead the line for us up front. But if we look towards the bench, I mean, we've got Toby Collier on the bench at the moment. There was a few existing injuries. Mason Mount, Victor Lindelof and Marcus Rashford all on the shelf at the moment. Luke Shaw has that band-aid there, but he has just returned from injury in this save. And lads, I am happy to reveal, as some of you will already know, that this is the first time we will be using live start points in the game this year. If we go to the calendar here, I have decided to take start of this career mode from the 22nd of December. And there's a reason for that. And that's because Manchester United have not won a game since then. We have lost every single game since we beat Manchester City in the Premier League at the Etihad. Sorry, we haven't lost every single game. We haven't won any game, I should say. We have just drawn 2-2 at Liverpool. So if I sound a bit hoarse at the moment, that's why, because I lost my mind during that game. And what a game it was. So I thought the best point to take over Manchester United for this career mode was from the Bournemouth game, because that was really where things started to fall apart. Okay, we did lose the Tottenham game as well, but I could deal with that. I wanted to kind of keep the League Cup realistic enough, so I let Tottenham beat us 4-3. I replicated the Man City and Victoria Plzen results, and also the Tottenham result as well. The only annoying thing is Arsenal and Liverpool both got knocked out of the League Cup, so I couldn't keep it fully realistic, but listen, I did my best. Apologies. Couldn't control the other results that were away from us. So yeah, my bad when it comes to that. But I've decided to start here from the Bournemouth game. We lost this game 3-0 in real life, then lost 2-0 to Wolves at Molineux in one of the most depressing games I've ever seen on St. Stephen's Day, or Boxing Day as it's known in the UK. Another depressing 2-0 result here against Newcastle, but in real life we did just get a very, very decent result against Liverpool at Anfield, who of course are the league leaders. So that's where I wanted to take charge of this career mode, from the point where that terrible run began in the Premier League. So Bournemouth will be the first game. Few things I wanted to go over as well for this career mode in terms of objectives, in terms of signings, and also one thing about kind of a tradition that I have on the channel that I haven't been able to fully implement into this career mode, but I do have a way of getting around it. So the first thing is, you know what, let's start with that. A lot of you will know that on this channel, I like to create players and put them into the squad, just to kind of, have that one unique thing that we'll have that nobody else will have in their United career mode. Or not just United career mode, but any team that we do. So with the live start points, you're unable to actually implement created players. I did a few test runs to see if it would work. I tried out a few different methods of seeing if the created players could enter into the career mode save by making them free agents or by trying to put them onto other teams. Unfortunately, it just couldn't happen. So there will be no Phil Brooks style player in this career mode, unfortunately. Well, at least not in the traditional sense. I was not able to create a player and put them into this save. But how I'm getting around that is by using the Youth Academy, because Manchester United are very famous for implementing youth players into the team. Of course, the class of 92, the most famous example. United have had a youth player in the squad for every game since the 1930s, which is an incredible stat. So what I decided to do was set up 3 youth scout missions initially, and I'm going to base the players we look for off of real-life United players that have played for us in the past. So as you can see here, our first scout, we've sent him to England looking for a right back, a right mid, a centre mid, or an attacking midfielder. That is me trying to replicate the class of 92. Also with this one here in Wales, looking for a right mid, right wing / left wing. That, of course, replicating Ryan Giggs. And here with the right back, right mid, centre mid and Cam, that is, of course, Neville. Both Nevilles, David Beckham, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes. I decided to put Cam in there because Scholes could play further forward as well, but of course the other positions were the traditional ones that those players played in. And then with the wingers, even though Ryan Giggs traditionally played on the left, he could play on the right as well, so I threw in a few right midfielders there as well, and of course we can easily convert them to left wingers as well. So that was the first scout mission I wanted to do, try and replicate the class of 92. So then with this third one here, you might be looking at this going, a Dutch goalkeeper, why have you chosen that, Joe? And that is because I want to also not just replicate youth academy players from Manchester United, but just players who've played for the club in general. For example, this one here, the Dutch goalkeeper, this is to try and find the next Edwin van der Sar. Of course, van der Sar did not come up through the United Youth Academy. We signed him from Fulham, and of course, he played for Ajax and Juventus as well before that. But any player who's played for United is eligible to be, let's call it, regenerated from the Youth Academy, even if they didn't come up from the Youth Academy themselves. I hope that makes sense. I've tried to simplify that language so much, and it makes me think, do I even speak English? Is English even my first language? I'm starting to doubt that. But I hope that makes sense. We are going to use the Youth Academy to try and replicate what we did with Phil Brooks at Celtic, what we did with Jeff Jarrett at Oxford, what we did with Dylan Turl, JJ, Pádraig Ring and Alex Cullen for Cloyne United. You get the gist. Some people actually did ask, what the hell was Phil Brooks' connection to Celtic? Well, CM Punk was feuding with Drew McIntyre, who's a Rangers fan, and then CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre the WWE title, then wore a Celtic top at the press conference. That was why. And why Jeff Jarrett at Oxford? Well, that's because legend of the channel JJ is an Oxford fan. One of his favourite wrestlers of all time is Jeff Jarrett. So, yeah, there you go. The original idea I had for a created player for this career mode was actually Kai Rooney, who's coming up through the Youth Academy at United, and I thought, why not have the next generation of Rooney in this career mode? But I wanted to use the live star points, and unfortunately that meant I wasn't able to implement a created player. But that is how we're going to get around it, so there is going to be a huge focus on the Youth Academy in this career mode. So if we have a look here as well at the tables of where we currently are in each competition, as you can see here, currently 12th in the Premier League, one place above where United are in real life. United have just jumped up to 13th after that draw against Liverpool, but we are 12th here, 22 points. A win against Bournemouth though, and we should jump up into the top half of the table. So then if we have a look here as well at the Europa League, we are currently in 9th place, which is, I think, where United actually are in real life at the moment in the Europa League. I did actually forget to check, but it's not too far away from where United are in this competition. 2 games left in the group. We've replicated the results, 3 wins and 3 draws, 12 scored and 8 conceded. And lads, I can't wait for the next game in this competition, because as you can see there on the left-hand side, our next game in the Europa League is against Rangers. And we've just completed a career mode with Celtic, so that is going to be very, very interesting. Speaking of the Celtic career mode, somebody left a comment on a post I put up recently on the channel, and this was back when we were doing the Celtic career mode, and I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to end it. It was just after we lost the Champions League final in the second last season, or did we do another season before we started the United career mode? And somebody said that they would like to see me bring over somebody from that Celtic team into the Manchester United team. And I want to give this person a shout out. I'm actually going to get up your name right now, so just bear with me a second. But this has given me an idea for what I want to do for all my career modes going forward. I think it would be a good idea to try and take one player from each career mode and bring them into the next one. So, for example, we just did a Celtic career mode, so we'll bring a player from Celtic over to Manchester United, and then the next career mode we're doing, which is the Montreal career mode, when we put them in Ligue 1, we'll take a player from United and put them into the Montreal career mode. I actually really like that idea, but I want to give the person credit who actually said that. Just bear with me a second, because it's just taking ages to load. I should have had this prepared beforehand. Oh, lads, I'll tell you what, I am still absolutely just buzzing after that result against Liverpool. I really am. Should have won it in the end, though. So unlucky from Harry Maguire. Xerxes might have been offside. I haven't actually seen it back yet at the time of recording, but regardless, it was a great result. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to find this person's name, and then I will discuss what we'll do after that. Took me a minute to find it, but got there in the end. Jenks1888 was the one who gave that suggestion. So shout out to Jenks. Really, really good idea, and I'm happy to be implementing it into this career mode for the first time. And the player I've decided I want to bring over from Celtic is this man right here. Daizen Maeda. What a clutch player he was. As you can see there as well, very versatile. Can play off the left, can play off the right, can play through the middle. He can be a number 10 as well. There is no other option for me other than Maeda. I half thought about Alistair Johnston, but I was like, maybe for the Montreal career mode with that Canadian connection, and he obviously has played for Montreal as well. That's why I might hold off on him a while, but I was looking for an excuse to use this man again in a career mode this year, and I'm very happy to have one now. He was such a clutch player. Starts at a 75 rating, but we saw in the Celtic career mode how that can shoot up, and he seems to play beyond his rating as well, which really, really excites me. So Maeda is somebody who will be joining up with the squad in January, and I'm only going to make one other signing in January, and that will be for a left back. Now, at this moment in time, I don't have anybody shortlisted. I have a few names inside my head that I would like to look at, but that's where I want suggestions from you guys. Which left back should we be going for? Because Luke Shaw, it ain't going to be happening. He's too injury prone. He's too much of a liability when it comes to his fitness. I don't want to keep Luke Shaw any longer than we have to. I do like Diogo Dalot, but obviously he's a right-footed player. He ain't no Dennis Irwin. He can't put in those consistent performances on the left-hand side. And Malacia, as much as I think he's a good squad player, 76 rated, 25 years old, it's not going to be a starting position he's going to be having in this team. He'll very much be a backup. So I would like to hear some suggestions from you guys, from some left backs I should be shortlisting, and those are the only two signings we will be making in January. But there will be a player I will be letting go of in January as well, and that will be this man right here. Where is he? There he is. Lost him there for a second. Marcus Rashford, who for some reason has a foot injury, even though he doesn't have one in real life. And I didn't set that. That was there when I started the career mode. Weird. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about this man leaving the club in real life. Listen, I love Marcus Rashford. He's had a good career at the club, but I do think it is time for Marcus Rashford to move on. And for me, I think for both from the club's perspective and from the player's perspective, the sooner the better. So Rashford will be leaving the club in January. Garnacho will be the man taking over that spot on the left-hand side, and we'll have Maeda as the backup. So I don't think there'll be many United career modes doing that. So I did say I was going to try and make this United career mode as unique as possible. That's why I have Joe Turl as the manager and not Ruben Amorim. I don't want to just do a copy of what Ruben Amorim's doing. I wanted to have my own spin on it as well. So that is the business we will be doing in the transfer window. Now, when it comes to the long-term objective for this career mode, as you can see here, we're currently 12th in the league, 9th in the Europa League with 2 games to go. And I also forgot to show you as well that, of course, in the FA Cup, we have a very, very tough game in the third round. Arsenal away from home, a fixture we've already lost in the Premier League this season, but a fixture that we can hope to get a better result in the FA Cup. So, the goal for this season is, from my perspective, get as close to a top 4 finish as we can possibly get. I don't want to finish any lower than 6th, but ideally, I want to finish in the top 4, but I know that'll be a challenge. And also, to win the Europa League. Those are the 2 goals I have set for myself this season. The Europa League probably is the best chance of getting into the Champions League, but I don't want to give up on top 4 just yet. We are starting a little bit earlier than the real life point in the season. I think in real life, our chances of top 4 are non-existent. In this career mode, it's an outside chance, but it's still somewhat possible. And as we can see, or as we have seen in career mode over the years, a lot of crazy shit can happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did end up sneaking into that top 4. If we just have a quick look at the points tally, we're on 22 points in 12th. 4th place at the moment is Manchester City. So there's only 8 points between 4th and 12th. And we do have a game in hand. So it's improbable, but it's not impossible. That's the objective for this season. I don't want to do any more than 3 full seasons. So we'll say 3.5 seasons is what we are aiming for in this career mode. I want to have the league title won by our 2nd full season. And the ultimate goal of this career mode that we need to achieve, at least in season 4, is, I already said it earlier, Manchester United were the first team to win the treble, first English team that is, to win the treble. I want United to become the first English team to win 2 trebles. It's really frustrating that Manchester City had to win the treble in 2023, even though, let's be honest, nowhere near as iconic. That only happened 2 years ago, not even, and everyone's already moved on from it. Our treble happened in 99. It's still more talked about than City's one. That says it all. But what's better than 1 treble? I'll tell you what's better than 1. 2. I want to win another treble. I did half think about the quadruple, but you know what? If we do that, great, but the goal is the treble. And also, I need to clarify this, the treble is the Premier League, the Champions League, and the FA Cup. None of this League Cup nonsense, none of this Europa League nonsense, none of this FA Cup, League Cup and Champions League nonsense being a treble. We want to win the treble, the league title, the European Cup, and the main domestic cup, which is the FA Cup. That is the long-term goal. When it comes to summer transfers, I will base them off if we achieve our goals. If we can finish in the top 6 and win the Europa League, I am basically free to do what I want in the transfer window. If we only achieve one of those objectives, I will limit myself to only 2 signings in the summer. Oh lads, I'm so pumped for this. I cannot wait to get into the first game. This was just a little preview episode that I wanted to do, similar to the Celtic career mode. This one obviously is a bit shorter because that preview for Celtic was when the game just came out. Also though, something that is worth mentioning, because we are doing live start points, I couldn't turn off the no sacking, or turn on the no sacking I should say. So we could get sacked in this career mode. We don't have the safety blanket that we had with Celtic where we knew we couldn't get sacked. It could very easily happen in this career mode, and the board objectives were to finish in the top 4, win the Europa League and win the FA Cup. I believe if we can do at least 2 out of those 3, we'll be fine, but if we fail more than one of them, it might be a problem. So we are taking every game seriously, whether it's Premier League, Europa League or FA Cup, we are taking it seriously. Oh lads, I'm so excited to get this career mode going. I really hope you are too. The first gameplay episode will be this Wednesday, 7 PM UK and Irish time, premiering right here on the Straight Outta Cloyne YouTube channel. If you are excited for it and you've enjoyed this preview, hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you all on Wednesday for the first game here on the United career mode at Old Trafford against Bournemouth. Let's hope we can get off to a winning start. See you then.